Guys.
Learn.
All right, guys, ready?
Let's
do this. What up, everyone? Welcome back. You know, I'm really excited. Obviously, if you're up early on a Saturday morning here on the West Coast or a nice 11 o'clock crisp on the East Coast, it's Cafe BTW, a morning gaming podcast. And we've been on a short hiatus, but I'm happy to be back. And we got guests right here, as you see below, in a bigger television that I put together here. We got Nick and Vinny from the Vintage Voyagers. What's going on, guys?
How are you? How's everything?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you guys on. I'm excited about this. I know we're going to be talking about the PS2, but you know, I don't know if you guys done any podcasts yet since you guys have been doing content creation and stuff, or is this kind of the first one?
We did a podcast with I think he goes by Bauer's House on TikTok. I don't know if he's still consistently posting, but that was our first podcast, so you're the second.
All right. Was it video or was it audio?
Yeah.
It
was video, like Riverside, and then he did the editing afterwards. We didn't get to actually see what was going on, which is pretty cool that we can in this.
It's funny. New Jersey Cards is going to ask the question for me, and he said, Nick and Vinny, are they from New Jersey?
And yes, we are.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. And that's something we have in common. And just, I know people that know me, they know I grew up in New Jersey. I'm a North Jersey boy. You know, New Jersey is a territory state, meaning there's North, Central, South. You guys are kind of like sort of in the middle. Central, I would say.
Yeah.
How far are you from Philly? Philly's the closest city, right?
Yeah, it's like about well, it depends. If you take the ferry, we're like 45 minutes from the heart of New York City, but Philly, we're probably like an hour-ish, an hour.
So you guys are like in between those two cities, pretty much. Where I'm
like I don't know. We're like 20 minutes from. I know you said you were at the Stone Pony before. We're like 20 minutes from there.
So back in the day, I'm gonna show my age. When they had the Warped Tour would be held in Asbury Park, right there on the water in the boardwalk area.
Yep.
Then there was this place called Casino Skate Park, which may be still there. I don't know. That's where they used to have punk rock hardcore shows. And I used to drive down to Casino Skate Park, and we used to go to these hardcore punk rock shows back in the day, and then we'd go to the Stone Pony as well. Those were some good times, guys. Also, if you guys are wrestling fans, they have the Asbury Park Convention Center. I don't know if it's still there, but ECW used to do their house shows there. And I used to go down.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I used to go back in the mid-'90s down to that convention center. We used to see like ECW house shows and stuff like that. It's Virtually a Podcast says, you grew up in New Jersey. What's next? You love the Jets? Yes, I am a Jets fan too. It's Virtually a Podcast.
Definitely not a Jets fan.
What, are you guys Giant fans? Let me guess. Or are you guys more Eagles?
I'm a Giants fan, unfortunately.
I have a crazy story that I guess I could get into if you want me to, but I'm a Cowboys fan, which is like, I know, bizarre. But...
How did you become a Cowboys fan?
So, like, I guess this is, like, going to put a damper on the... I don't want to, but my grandpa, who I never met, my dad was 10 years old when he passed. He had a brain tumor, and the aunt that was... That's okay. The aunt that was looking over him and taking care of him was Drew Pearson's aunt. The nurse, was Drew Pearson's aunt.
Wow.
So my dad would get autographs. He met him. He got like a signed football, signed gloves. So because he was, as a kid, he got the chance to meet Drew Pearson. He became a Cowboys fan, and we've all been Cowboys fans ever since.
It's America's team, man. It's okay. Yeah. I'll give you a pass. I actually grew up when I was in high school. I knew a bunch of like Dallas Cowboys because in the 90s, the Dallas Cowboys were freaking great. I mean, you had Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman.
Unstoppable.
So a lot of people were like I won't want to say front runners, but some people were like Cowboy fans, in high school. But I'll tell you this. In North Jersey, it's primarily Giant fans. A lot of the Jet fans are in Long Island, Queens, Flushing, all that area. So when I was in high school, I got picked on all the time by the Giant fans. And
oh, no.
Yeah, all the time. Because I was like, honestly, in my high school, like one of like 5 Jet fans. Everyone else is Giant fans. So that I don't have a lot of gripes with the Giants anymore. But back in the high school days, oh man, hated you guys. But anyway, speaking of,
sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So why don't we, what I usually do with guests is I want to hear a little bit about your background with video games before we jump into the topic. And just so everyone knows, and I want to say hello to everyone in VOD land. And thanks everyone that showed up for the live. Really appreciate it. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's start with Vinny. Vinny, what was it about growing up as a kid what was it that sparked your love for video games as a kid?
Growing up, so I have three older brothers. So growing up as a kid, I'd always see my brothers playing, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PS1. So like I was always a little kid, and they were like sometimes they were playing these games that I just like couldn't play, or like they played these games that looked so much fun, and I just like I would want to join in, but like at some point it was like I was too young, so they most of the time they wouldn't want to share either, but um so
They play.
eventually I got to the point where I started playing with them, Mortal Kombat. I mean when we talk about the SNES, the big three ones for me are all three of the Mortal Kombats, Sunset Riders, and Turtles in Time.
Ooh,
So
all great.
me and my brothers, and one of my cousins would always be playing those games.
They like don't plug your controller in, but they want you there. So I guess you're a little kid.
Hey man, growing up with three brothers, it's tough. It's tough. I got
Yeah,
abused as a child.
that's funny. I start just so you guys know how old I am. I started with the 2600, but I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
Atari.
But it was really the NES for me as a kid that kind of like launched me. And my brother was only 3 years older than me, so we kind of grew up in that generation. But that's cool. And recently I got a Super NES handed to me. You guys are gonna love this. My girlfriend's family are moving, and they found like their old Super Nintendo in their garage, and they're like, "Does Andy want this?" I'm like, "Yes."
Of course.
Absolutely.
And I just you don't get that anymore. You don't get people like handing you systems anymore. So like the fact that happened recently to me was amazing. Anyway, Nick, let's hear
Yeah.
about you, man. We know you're a Dallas Cowboy guy, but where did it start for you for video games?
So I have an older brother as well. We're only 3 years apart, so kind of same as you. I grew up on the PS1, so as
Nice.
a really young kid, my first game, Crash Bandicoot. I loved Ape Escape. Kind of like the more simplistic like control-based games, but like they're kind of addicting because it's simple, but it's like difficult at the same time. Like the controls aren't confusing, but the games are challenging, at least as a kid. And then once the PS2 came out, all the Star Wars games, Battlefront, it just really took over. And I mean, our biggest collection, both of us, is the PS2. So yeah, that's where I started PS1 into PS2. I mean, we have all the systems, but we mainly just play PS2.
Throw down some names. What systems do you guys have? Out of curiosity, besides the
I
PS2.
have. Sorry, I'm looking over here. These are like I'm in the basement where I have all the systems. I have PS1 through 4. You have the PS5. We both have the PS1 through 4. I have the Wii, and I have an OG Xbox that I just got, but I haven't set up yet to like see if it
Ooh.
works. And then you have what? You have like the Switch,
I have
SNES.
PS1 through 5, GameCube, SNES 64.
I could show you. I actually built my own arcade. I could grab it real quick, but I wound up. I don't know if you know like the retro pie arcades.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I wound up building my own like control board. So I have like joystick controllers that has like emulators on it. So I mean, it's kind of cheating, but I have all those systems too.
That's awesome. And good morning, Biff. Welcome to the show. And hello, Cloud Breather. Cloud Breather wants to tell you all that the OG Xbox is a journey, so enjoy it. I will say this, guys. It's funny. Everyone back in the day had a PS2, nearly everyone, but I was
Yeah.
more on the Xbox side, and I actually will get into that story later, but definitely the original Xbox was awesome. And you guys, if you just got it, there's definitely some amazing games to enjoy. Let's see, Rich in chat, PS2 is cool. Oh, it is. Speaking of that, so thanks for sharing your background, guys, and glad to have fellow Jerseyans on the show. I wanted to just do some dirty laundry before we get into a little bit. I'm going to ask you some questions about TikTok and stuff, but I just want to let everyone know. I usually do some like topical stuff at the top. You guys might have saw I was at the PAX West convention up in Seattle. My first conference back in person, guys. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to an E3 before or any gaming conventions, but it's
Sadly not.
It's fantastic. As you can see, this is actual footage of the floor. We had Nintendo was exhibiting, and they had a Splatoon 3 booth set up. We had Bandai Namco was showing off their One Piece game, which looked really good, by the way, if you're a big anime fan. But as you can see, there was a lot of really cool booths, and I just wanted to say that I had a blast. I was up there the whole weekend. I also ran into a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while in the gaming industry. So it was really fun. And also, I don't know, have you guys ever been to Seattle?
No.
I was actually just there, but I had a connecting flight. I didn't spend
That
any
doesn't
time
count.
there.
That doesn't
I mean, I was
count.
technically there, but
That's true. That's true. But here I did shoot, like, this is actual footage that I took, just a quick montage of like the day or the days I was there. It was really cool. There was one retro store which is really famous in Seattle called Pink Gorilla, and they had a stand at the show, and I was able to pick up some pickups and stuff. But
That was actually going to be my next question. I didn't know. Do they sell games there, like at the convention?
not a lot. There were vendors, but there was a retro gaming stand, and that was Pink Gorilla. But yes, like Limited Run Games, if you guys are familiar with them, they were there. They were selling a bunch of stuff. Primarily, it's playing games. It's like a lot of indie booths are set up, and you want to like try their games. And what they'll do is they'll give you codes for their game because they want you to like try them out later. It's
Right.
not a lot, but there is like a vendor side. There you could, there's people selling T-shirts and stuff, but it's more booth focused than vendor focused. So I would say it's more like prosumer friendly, meaning like more business / consumer kind of event. But what's really cool about PAX 2 is that upstairs there's a whole floor for tabletop gaming, Magic the Gathering, and D&D. So they have like not only gaming, they have that type of gaming, like I don't know if you guys are into tabletop or any of that stuff. So it's a really nice mix of, gaming doesn't always necessarily mean video games. Like Pokemon was there. Pokemon Company had a booth, and you would wait in line, and they would give you free Pokemon card packs, and then you would go into this area. It's actually on the screen here, and you just play Pokemon. It was really cool, and Pokemon Company was there. Cloudbreather says, if you want a good laugh on the OG Xbox, watch arrest scenes on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Oh, good advice.
I'm excited. I want to get the Obi-Wan exclusive game. I heard it wasn't very good, but like I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so I feel like I need to get that one.
I love it. And then finally, just want to shout out, we started the retro gaming community on Twitter a few months ago. We're up to over 1,600 members, guys. And this is kind of like a concentrated community that I kickstarted on Twitter, and it's been overwhelmingly amazing. So if you want to check it out, just hit my Twitter, go to the pinned tweet. Welcome to join. You guys are going to love this. We're actually working with a toy company called New Wave Toys that's donating this miniature arcade machine for 1942, and we're giving it away to the community. And that is in October. We're kicking this off. So that's all you have to do is be a part of the Twitter community, and this baby could be yours if you win it. So just check out my pinned tweet there. But yeah, that's the dirty laundry, I like to call it. But let's go back. I want to hear the story before we get into PS2.
Okay.
What is it about TikTok? How did you guys start doing this whole TikTok thing? Where did it all begin for you guys? And by the way, love your content. It's awesome.
Thank you.
And if you guys notice in chat, we have their link tree. Go ahead and follow them and check out their content below. And also, if you're on VOD, we have it in the description as well. Go ahead, guys. Tell me about this TikTok stuff.
Yeah, so I would say we started November 1st, I think. We specifically waited to like start at the beginning of like 1 month so we could actually like track our progress. But yeah, November of last year we both just graduated from school, and we were playing like video games all the time, just trying to, it's tough when you just get out of school, you might not have a job lined up, and there's a lot of stress on like trying to figure out your life. And we both just said, you know what, we're like playing these games to kind of, get a break from everything. And I think we stumbled across like a YouTube channel of somebody just playing like addicting games, right? They were playing I forget what the game is called, but is it like Bowman or Arrowman? They're both kind of,
I think it was Bowman.
Bowman. So there were two kids like just playing Bowman, like having the best time ever. And I was like, you know what? we have all this love for these older games, PS2 games, like stand-up arcade games. We go to arcades that are near us all the time. That's actually in Asbury, the one that you were just showing.
Oh,
Anyway,
really? Oh, that's
yeah,
Yep.
awesome.
it's called Silver Pinball Museum. So it's like a
Ooh.
bunch of pinball stand-up arcades. Really cool. But anyway, we both just kind of said, why don't we just do this so we can, meet people that might still be playing these games? Because I mean, both of us around here, I think we're the only kids around here still playing PS2. But we knew that, if we dive into that social media aspect, there'll probably be more people out there that, have love of these games or memories from these games that if we bring them back and put you back in like an enjoyable, moment in your life, like it would mean a lot to us. So it really just took off from there after the consistency and just having fun with it.
Feel like NFL Street had a big influence on
You
starting
guys,
this channel
I
too.
love your NFL Street stuff because we'll get into that. That game was amazing, and I love
That's
that you
like our
guys.
favorite game.
Do you guys like still play it pretty aggressively? Like you guys are always playing it?
Whenever we like
Or-
right after this, we're gonna be playing.
Yeah.
That's
Whenever we're
amazing.
together hanging out, we run a game at least. We have a team that's like maxed out because
Yeah.
we've been putting in since
Yeah, and we've
I
been
don't even
putting it.
know.
Well, we had Street 1, and then eventually we had to get Street 2 and make a team off that because we like completely 100%ed
The
the
game.
first Street.
That's hilarious.
And this, sorry to cut you off,
Oh
but
yeah, go ahead.
in the second street, so the first street we took players from. I don't know if you know, like with the challenge, when you win, you could like use 750 tokens to like take a player from another team. So we took like Randy Moss, like all the cheat code players. In Street 2, we were like, we can't make this easy. So Street 2, we just used all the development points to like make our regular players the best they could be. We didn't take any other players, so it was like
That's
more
funny.
competition.
I love that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little more. I absolutely love that you guys talk about that game. I think it's a game that not a lot of people like would talk on videos about. So it's really cool that you guys. There's actually a lot of PS2 games you guys bring up that I don't think a lot of people talk about. So I really appreciate like the kind of content you guys are doing, and it's really funny stuff. And Vinny, you're like straight out of The Sopranos. You're a total Jersey guy, man. I'm just gonna say that right now. You remind me of like all my friends I grew up with. I'm assuming you're an Italian guy.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, because in North Jersey, especially like my high school, my friends were guys like Matt Zaccagna and Nick Caminetti, and like all these Italian guys. And in LA, honestly, there's not a huge Italian culture out here. That's why the pizza's so
Really?
bad. Oh yeah, there's not a lot of like.
Oh no, I heard the pizza's terrible.
Ah, you kidding me? Don't even
It's
get
the
me
water.
started. I've been here for 15 years. I haven't had a good bagel or a really good slice of pizza. There's like, I won't say all pizza's bad. There's like a couple of spots that there's this guy from Brooklyn out here. His pizza's pretty good. And then there's another spot called Pizzanista downtown LA, which actually probably the closest to New York style. But out here, it's all about, what do they call it? Artisan pizza, like these, like they put pear
Fake
and
pizza.
cheese on pizza. I'm like,
Right.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast probably. That said, what is this, guys? Like, what is this? This is the PS2, right? This is what our podcast is all about today.
Yep.
What is the PS2? What is it about it before we get into a little bit of some stats I pulled up? But like, what is it about the PS2 that really stood out in general, you think?
So for me specifically, I just think the variety of games. Like a lot of people, I mean, PS1 had a lot of groundbreaking games, but PS2 had like all of the movie-based games that I'm just like a big movie-based collector for video games, even if they're not good. But
That's
a
a good
lot of just
point.
groundbreaking franchises with Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Battlefront. I'm a huge Star Wars guy, so Revenge of the Sith movie-based game came out. Godfather, Scarface, like
Spider-Man.
titles that are just Spider-Man, all three. The
That's a
third
good
one,
point.
I mean, just games that I feel like they finally allowed them to license these huge titles. Where like we got a Spider-Man game on PS1, but it was the one where like you're on the roof, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then Spider-Man 2 came out. I think that's the best Spider-Man game of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I love the new one on PS4. I know you like 100%ed it, right? You got like the platinum.
Yeah.
Um,
Damn.
but
That's
I
I think that's a good point. It had a lot of good movie-based video games, which for the history of gaming, we go back to the 80s and like a lot of NES version games of movies were horrible. Not all of
Right.
them. Even Atari, I mean, you had E.T., which is like the worst game of all time.
Yeah.
But Vinny, how about you, man? What's the PS2 mean to you?
I mean, probably it's similar to what Nick said. Just the catalog of games that are on the PS2 is just kind of unmatched. Like it really has a game for like every mood, every. I mean, they literally made a movie on everything back then. It's crazy. Every movie, different shows. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Like just for instance, the King Kong game, I didn't expect it to be like, amazing. It was probably one of the best games I've ever played. And like, I don't know if you've played it, but there's a King Kong. They made it based off the Jack Black movie. It was awesome.
I did, and I remember you guys I played it back in the day, but I remember you guys did some videos on that, and I thought that was unique because that's a game no one talks about. And
Nobody.
I think that's like really cool. You guys really do pinpoint a lot of these PS2 games that people forgot about and that don't think about. You think of PS2, you think of Gran Turismo 3, you think of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which we'll get into, but you guys are pulling all these interesting games that I don't think people are like they don't remember playing until they see your videos.
Right.
Cloud Breather says the SNES had a Star Wars movie game that apparently sold well. The Star Wars NES games were pretty good. They were hard.
Good.
They were hard though.
I have The Empire Strikes Back was good, but Return of the Jedi for the SNES was my favorite.
Nice.
That was a good one.
Those were good. Biff says my favorite game on that system was Vice City. Great game too.
Vice City was awesome.
Great game.
Can't go wrong.
So do you guys know who this guy is right here? Do you have any idea who that is? This is Ken Kutaragi. Or I'm totally butchering his last name, by the way. So he is very important into the history of PlayStation because I don't know if you guys are probably familiar, but Nintendo and Sony were going to team up and make what they called the PlayStation, which was going to be it was kind of going to be a Super Nintendo with a DVD drive with Nintendo and Sony working together. Nintendo and Sony kind of broke up. Nintendo actually ended up working with Philips, and then Sony's like, screw Nintendo, we're just going to do this ourselves. And Ken Kutaraga is huge guy that helped push that whole experience where he's like, screw Nintendo, let's make the PS1, let's do our own thing, and let's make it around CD games, right? So fast forward, he also is the grandfather of the PS2. This guy is, without Ken, you wouldn't have the PS2, you wouldn't have the PlayStation.
God bless Ken.
Yeah, so wanted to shout out this wonderful man. He's kind of like the
I'm gonna have to get a poster of him.
Yes, he's like the Miyamoto. He's Nintendo. This is the PlayStation dude. So we got to give him props, right? Now another important detail, and especially for the video game industry. So DVD players just came out, guys, around the era of the PS2. But the cheapest DVD player was still more expensive than the PS2. And the PS2 included a DVD player in a console for the first time, which revolutionized marketing because what they did was they're like, listen, we can put a DVD player in the PS2 so that consumers may buy it even if they're not going to play video games. And honestly, guys, as someone that grew up around this generation, I had a lot of friends that had a PS2 not because they were playing video games, but because they wanted to watch DVDs.
The movies.
Did you guys know about this whole thing with the DVD player on the PS2? Did you guys watch? Did you guys also use your PS2 for DVDs back then?
I think we had a DVD player, and it was still kind of like that VHS time. But I definitely used. I have used it before to watch movies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's really interesting on top of this. And this is probably the Dreamcast, as you guys know, which I know you guys have done videos on the Dreamcast, and you guys like the Dreamcast. We all love the Dreamcast, right? The biggest mistake the Dreamcast had was not including a DVD player. Yeah. And there's always this question, would the Dreamcast have survived if they added the DVD player to compete with the PS2? I think yes. I think that what happened with Dreamcast and Sega was they're like, you know what, we want to make this a gaming machine, which they did. They made a fantastic gaming machine, but they missed the boat by not including a DVD player. And that is why the PS2 is probably one of the best-selling consoles of all time, right?
Yeah.
Because they hit a market that was looking to be able to play DVD movies at a time where DVDs were just starting to blow up. So it really gave someone that didn't play video games a chance to buy that. And then people would buy the PS2 for DVD players, but then end up getting into video games. So we can't talk about the PS2 without the kind of impact they had with the DVD. On top of that, guys, the PS2 also were compatible with the original PlayStation controllers and the memory cards.
Yep.
On top of that, Sony made it backwards compatible, which was fantastic. You can't play all Sony PlayStation original games on the PS2, but hell, the fact that it was backwards compatible for most PlayStation games was huge. What do you guys think of that? Like how smart that was to not only include backwards compatibility for accessories, but the games themselves, which something that seems is hard to happen these days. You know, they don't do backwards compatibility.
So I mean, to me, it just means that, like, I feel like back then it was more, obviously sales were important to them, but it's also just like care, right? So like if you had the PS1, you had a controller, so you weren't like so stressed that, oh, I need to go out and get another one. Like they cared about their previous owners of Sony systems. And I mean, the whole reason I have my PS3 that I still have is it's backwards compatible. I had like one of the original ones.
The one that is
the
back.
Beast.
Ooh, that one's a great one to have. That one's getting expensive.
It upscales the graphics, so like the PS2 games look really good. I mainly play on PS2 still anyway, but I just think that backwards compatibility is important because, like, just because you go to a new gen doesn't mean you don't want to play those older games. And like a lot of people don't keep their systems; they trade them in, which, like, thank God I never did. But a lot of people will trade it in to get money to then buy the new system. And but the ability to have it backwards compatible, you don't have to really worry about that, I guess.
Yeah,
I hope Sony's taking notes for the PS5. Just saying.
Yeah, what's annoying to me is like they could probably just run a patch update, like with the way technology is now, but they're gonna push that like PS Classic, where you have to pay a membership fee, subscription based to get these games. Where it's like you could just run a patch in the system to run these games if you have like the disc drive one. But I don't know.
That's the problem.
I'm not good with tech.
I think that's the problem. Is like nostalgia is selling right now. So these companies are like, maybe we don't make it backwards compatible and we just slowly roll out games on
remaster the games.
And don't get me started on remasters and remakes, especially Last of Us. I'm like, are you seriously making a remake of this game after just making a remaster on the PS4? Listen, I'm not hating on The Last of Us, but I'm had enough, and it's the last time I want to play it again. Like,
how about Resident Evil 4?
Yeah. I think
what are there, like 10 games?
I think that's a problem with the video game industry, is that it's starting to act as the movie industry has done with remakes and re-releases.
It's just money now.
There's so many problems, and that's another podcast with a lot of like the modern issues of gaming, and I'm just like, I don't care about we don't need to remake Last of Us. The remaster on the PS4 was damn good. Like, like why? Why are we remaking it? Like,
and they just shouldn't be charging $70 for it either.
Yeah, it's just what kills me. What kills me with like the modern day gaming is definitely the DLC. They'll release a game that's just not complete, and then they'll add content afterwards. Which, like, it's cool that they're adding more, but you're giving us a game that, like, in PS2, that would have already been in the game. Like, all this content would have been, like, you get Battlefront 2, they had every map. Now the new Battlefront 2, you have to pay. Like, I bought the deluxe edition because I'm like, just, you know, they know that they have Star Wars fans that are just gonna get it. But the Death Star wasn't it. Like, all these maps, it's like that would have been in the game prior.
I've been watching a lot of people talk about the issues of game. I don't know if you guys know who Jeff Gertzman is. He's like a famous journalist. I don't know. You guys ever heard of Giant Bombcast? Famous.
Sounds kind of familiar, but
they were like a well-known video game podcast for years. They broke up recently and they went their separate ways, and he started his own show. But he went into really strong detail on the problems with gaming in the modern era, and I think that gaming is just becoming a little different than it was back in the day, even around this era, the PS2. But guys, do you know how many games came out on the PS2 in its lifetime?
Isn't it like 7,000 something?
Well, according to this, it says 3,874. I don't know if that
Really?
includes international. That might be the U.S. run.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm probably thinking of like total.
I think total that might be correct, but and they sold 1.5 billion copies of games. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Jen just says part of the problem is the coding architecture. In order to get it to work, you have to make an emulator, and many features are so chip specific that the functionality gets broken.
Oh, that's cool.
No excuses.
I didn't know that.
I'm just kidding. Also, guys, fun
That's pretty
fact.
cool though. I didn't know that.
Did you guys know that a man legally changed his name to PS2? This is a real story.
I did not know that.
His name was Dan Holmes, and he said he loved the PlayStation 2 so much he decided the only thing to do was legally change his name.
That's
What a legend.
I might have to do that with my middle name.
I mean, oh man, that's commitment. I hope he didn't have a wife because she probably would have hated that. Now, do you guys know how long they manufactured the PS2 for?
Didn't they stop selling it in 2006 when they released the PS3?
They stopped manufacturing in 2013. Even when the PS3 was out, they were still making PS2s, and
Really?
that was only I think a year before the PS4 came out.
I was gonna say, didn't the 3 come out in like 2006 or 7?
The 3 was out, and they were still manufacturing the PS2 as well.
That's
because
crazy.
The PS2.
That's probably why they're so easy to get.
They're easy to get, and their PS2 is still reasonably affordable, right? And it's reasonably. Who knows what happens next? But the PlayStation 2 continued to be produced until 2013, when Sony finally announced that it had been discontinued after over 12 years of production. That is insane for a console's lifespan. So I thought that was a really great fact that maybe a lot of people don't realize. But they were still producing games, even with the PS3. And that's why, PS2 is still one of the most highest sold consoles of all time. We're talking 155 million consoles out there. How many people in the world? I don't know how many people. There's like 1 billion in the world or something, 2 billion. I don't know.
8 billion.
8
right?
billion?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. So there's that many people, but that's still a nice chunk of humans that have this thing. Now, Nintendo DS is second, and recently the Switch, is getting up there. 111 million units sold for the Switch.
Yeah,
Pretty
they were
impressive.
smart with the Switch.
Pretty impressive. So quickly, we're going to get into the games, guys, but I want to talk about where's my connection. So I told you guys I actually didn't have a PS2. My brother did. Then I went to college in Florida, and I didn't have a PS2 at the time, but I wanted San Andreas, and I literally bought a used PS2, which I honestly think I bought for really cheap. Like at GameStop, it might have been, this was circa 2000, I don't know, 5 or 4, maybe less. I don't exactly know when the game came out. I think it was around there. And I probably got a used PS2 for like $70, maybe less than that. But I literally got it for this game. Now, I think that a lot of people could say that this is one of the best games ever developed for any console, and I think that it should be noted that it was the PS2 that had the exclusive release of San Andreas. What does this game mean to you guys?
This game is arguably, so I actually personally like Vice City more, which is like, it might be a hot take, but obviously this game is amazing. I can't even tell you how many hours I pumped into this game. I only played it towards like the later, because obviously as a kid I wasn't really kind of allowed to play this. But then, after playing Vice City, I had to get this and play through it.
Vinny.
Yeah. I actually remember like a specific story involved with this game when I had to be in like elementary school or something. I actually had one of my buddies over, and it was like Friday. You remember that? Like it was a Friday, like you're looking forward, like your friends coming over after, like no better feeling in the world. So he actually brought this game over, and like my mom like obviously didn't want me playing it, but I was still playing all these games because of my brothers. But for some reason I think he brought it over, or my friend saw it and wanted to play it. I forget what it was exactly, but like we knew my mom like didn't want me playing it, so we had to like playing in my basement in like the corner, and like one of us would like keep watch to make sure she didn't come downstairs. Like, I mean, just whenever I think of this game, I just think of that, which is pretty cool.
That's
I
true.
think
There
of
was,
that. What is it? What's the fast food chain in this game? I just
you
think
know,
of
I
that.
just pulled it up and I forget what
Yeah.
it was called, but that was here. It is. What is it
There's a
called?
guy that went out. I think. Do you know like Matt Stoney, the guy that he does all of the challenges for
Yeah.
the National Hot Dog? He did a challenge where like he bought modern day, or not modern day, but he went to like chains in like McDonald's, all that, and tried to replicate the meals. And he did like the challenge that's in this game when they order. I
Are you
forget what the order is.
serious?
He's like, I want 2 triple burgers. He goes through the whole order and he ate it on YouTube. He did the whole thing.
Well, this one is the Well Stacked Pizza Company, which is the pizza place. I forgot what the burger place was
something.
called. I
Yeah,
forgot
that's
the
what it
burger.
was.
But yeah, I was lucky, guys. I was in college at the time, so my parents couldn't do crap. You know, I'll be honest. I was lucky. My parents were oblivious to all video
Yeah.
games. I had those type of parents, but I definitely had friends that had those parents that were strict as hell and like wouldn't let you play like this stuff. And there was definitely like a stigma around this game, and like a lot of people like you had to do that, like had to sneak buy it, had to figure out how to get the game, you know, because their parents wouldn't buy it for them, and then like secretly play it. Another game to note for me personally is definitely Gran Turismo 3. I am not a huge racing guy, honestly, but I played the crap out of this game, and it's one of the best racing games ever made, in my opinion. Did you guys love this game? Any memories with this one?
Yeah, I'm the same way as you. I'm not a big racing guy. I played Gran Turismo 3. I think it was one of the best Gran Turismos, but I actually really like the Midnight Club. I don't know if you played
Oh
Midnight
yeah,
Club Dub Edition. Those are probably my favorite racing games.
nice.
Yeah, I'm not huge on racing either, but
I'm just not good at them.
yeah. Gran Turismo I played. I loved Burnout 3, Midnight Club. All those games are classics.
Nice. So let's get into some stuff that you guys
Oh
recommended.
man.
What is it about Bond 007 Nightfire that is special?
The story was awesome, and I think the coolest part going back, like I played it as a kid and I absolutely loved it. It was difficult, but I loved it. Going back and playing now, I didn't realize there's multiple ways to complete missions. So like you could stealth your way through, and there's like a whole different path on the map that you can take. And in the snow mission, for example, you can sneak behind, like there's a truck to get into the castle, but there's also, if you go to the right, you can go underneath the bridge and use like a phone gadget that's like a grapple hook, and you can get to like the back of the castle through that way. So just the replayability of it was really awesome, and I think it's like everything you'd really want in a Bond game. Like I loved GoldenEye on the N64, but obviously like with the new control system, like how easier it was to play on PS2 for me at least, just made this game much more enjoyable for me.
The multiplayer was awesome as well.
Yeah, the bot, like it was the first like bot-based multiplayer where you can play split screen with a friend
Right.
and play against, like all of the bots.
Just the maps, the missions, the multiplayer. It's just such a good game.
And that's another instance of a game people don't talk about, I think, enough.
Not at all.
Not at
No.
all. So you guys, I've definitely seen a bunch of videos on that. So Battlefield 2, that's a big one. Who's,
I never had Battlefield 2. I didn't even know they had a game for. I think I knew they had a game for PS2, but I never played.
have you guys ever played this?
No.
Did I pull
No,
this? I wonder why I pulled this up.
I think you're thinking of Battlefront 2.
Oh my god, I put Battlefield. I'm like, but
yeah,
I
I was
guess
gonna say, I don't think-
there was a Battlefield though.
There was a Battlefield.
There was a
2?
Battlefield on PS2.
It says Battlefield Modern Combat PS2.
Wow, I
Interesting.
didn't know
Oh my
that.
god, Battlefront is correct. We should talk about Battlefront.
Oh, Battlefront is like my life.
This kid will talk for days about Battlefront.
Battlefront is fantastic.
Another
It's just
perfect game.
everything. Like at least for me, it's everything that a Star Wars fan would want in a video game.
Absolutely.
They did a really good job with a lot of the older Star Wars franchises.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the Revenge of the Sith movie-based game was honestly one of my favorite Star Wars games. The lightsaber mechanics are really good, the combat is really good in it, and the story is, I mean, I loved Revenge of the Sith for in the prequel era. I think it's the best prequel movie. Um, so I love that game.
And you
But this
got
game, you're really playing through like what it would be like on the battlefield, in a Star Wars
World,
universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact they added the Jedi's and
And a super slept on game mode is like everyone considers Galactic Conquest as like the instant action where you just go and like capture command posts, but the actual single player Galactic Conquest was awesome, taking over the galaxy like planet by planet. It was so cool.
Yeah, Manny Arcade, shout out. Hey, Manny, what's up? Another fellow TikToker. Pierce Bronson is the GOAT of James Bond games.
Yes, he is. He's my favorite too.
And then Cloud says, I played Battlefront for like a year with friends. Hey, a year is a good amount of time. This is
Yes,
definitely one of those games.
I mean, I've been playing since 2005, so God only knows how much time I put into this one.
Now, Jack and Dexter is one that I don't personally have a lot of attachment to, but I know a lot of people love this game. What is it about Jack and Dexter that you guys that speaks to you?
Jack. It's funny. I actually just I 100%ed this on the
Whoa,
remastered recently.
nice.
So, I mean, just the characters, the map. I think what the Jack series as a whole, this was the perfect game because I feel like once they went to the second and third, like they tried to do too much, and like they tried like two was like it kind of reminded me of GTA with all like the flying cars and stuff. This was just, the story was incredible, the map, just the enemies, the
It's like
controls.
really funny too.
Yeah, Daxter's a clown. Just, uh, just another game that growing up is just it always sticks out to me.
I guess I have to try the remaster. I've never really played it. I'll be honest with you guys. Um,
I was a Sly Cooper kid, so like I feel like they're kind of comparable,
Yeah,
Jack and Sly.
well, let's
Sly
pull up
Cooper was my
Sly.
favorite. Oh yeah, this game, all three were great. I bought the fourth on PS3, never got a chance to play it. I heard it wasn't that good, but oh my God, Sly Cooper is like I played
so
through it,
was
so
I.
this game means a lot to me because like my brother and I are close in age, so it was still a time where we could sit together and switch off and play like a single player together and experience the story together. It was awesome.
This is what the 3D platformers on the PS2 were really good.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and the graphics still hold up today. Like I know
Yeah.
people really don't go back and play the old games because of that, but I think they look great. I'm not a big like, I don't need the game to look great as long as it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I lost everything. Hold on. That's weird. Um, hold on, guys. Everything crashed. Oh my
Oh
god, I
no.
lost all my tabs. That's okay. We're
No.
getting through it. Let me see.
Another great game,
Yeah,
my first rated M game was the Godfather game.
that's right. I pulled that one up. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that one. I actually had. I don't know. I guess
Have you played?
I've never played, so I want to hear about this game. Why is it Godfather 2, PS2? Yeah.
Both. So Godfather 1 was the first one I played. 2 came out for PS3, I believe. Um, Godfather 2 was like a ramp up from 1. It was open world, multiple countries, and they based it off obviously the Godfather 2 story minus going back to Italy. Like the prequel story of Godfather 2, but the first Godfather was just it was so cool because I was a huge fan of the movie, so being able to play through it and see like the way the missions were. We did like a whole review on our YouTube channel of why you should play it. This one is the second one. This one was really good too.
Are they very much open world, or is it a little bit more linear?
They're open
They're
world.
open
So
world.
in the first Godfather and this one, you work as like a soldier in the beginning, so you're just a low tier in the mafia, and then you have to take over storefronts. You have to like extort the businesses and take them over to make it like a Corleone territory. And then as you play through the story and you get through higher missions, then you start ranking up as, you go to capo, then and you make your way up to, depending on how you beat the game, you could become the Don, but most people just you become his like right hand man.
How does it compare to Mafia?
So the one, did you play Mafia?
Yeah.
The first Mafia was really good. I think I would lean towards Godfather for
I
the
gotta
first
play
Mafia,
this.
but then Mafia 2 was my favorite
Mafia
Mafia-based
2
game.
is awesome.
I bought all the DLC for that. Mafia 2 was a great story, great open world. I think they got the perfect atmosphere. Like you felt like you were in the 50s with the radio station, everything. But definitely Godfather 1 and 2 are really good games.
I need to play this. Is it? There's no remaster of Godfather, I'm assuming, right?
I don't think
think
so.
so.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you emulate, but I'm sure they have like I'm sure it's out there, a ROM where you could get it like really uh, in great graphics and stuff like that.
All right. Well, as we get near to the end, I wanted to pull up. I always do this. I would pull up some random site and says the best PS2
Best
games of all time. So according to Games Radar, SOCOM, which is one thing we didn't talk about, which is a game that I played. Just so people know, SOCOM was kind of ahead of the Call of Duty era and was really the first time I really played a lot of like first person. Well, it wasn't really first person shooter, but like online
Yeah.
multiplayer competitive shooter. So we should shout out SOCOM for sure. Which is number 25 on this list. Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast is a good game. I had it on the Xbox, I believe. Have you guys ever played this one?
No, but I was going back to the SOCOM. I
Yep.
was a Medal of Honor kid, so I played House of the Rising Sun. I played Frontline. I had SOCOM, but on the PSP, I think. I feel like Medal of Honor is a franchise no one
I think I
talks
had
about.
SOCOM for the PSP as well.
Nice. Yeah, SOCOM, it's a franchise that's kind of disappeared. No, I don't think they've
Yeah,
made
same
any
with
new
Medal of Honor. No one talks about those.
Yeah.
Call of Duty took over.
Gradius 4, I think that's a 4.
Never played.
Virtual Fighter 4 Evolution. I never played that one. Dragon
No.
Quest 8 is number
These are
21.
bizarre games.
Gran
I mean, I
Turismo
don't know.
4, we talked about the third one. I guess the fourth one was definitely good too. Tony
Tony
Hawk
Hawk's
Underground,
Underground.
of course.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts,
Hearts.
of course.
Kingdom Hearts.
Ratchet and Clank,
Ratchet
we didn't
and
talk
Ratchet and
about.
Clank.
That's obviously a big
Awesome.
one.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know Katamari. Don't know this one.
So I heard this game is really fun. I can't find a copy of it because I like to collect the physical. I think I don't know if I'm mistaken it too, but I don't know if that's the one where you like as you walk over an item, it like builds into like you collect the item and you become like a huge like ball of just everything.
I've never
could be
played
mistaken
it. I wonder if it's a sought out game. Maybe it's pretty pricey these days. I'm not sure.
I can't find it. I can't even find someone selling it. It's probably on eBay, but like you said, it's probably expensive. SSX tricky.
SSX tricky.
Funny story. Before the pandemic, before this retro gaming boom with the market happened, I literally found an SX tricky someone was throwing out on the side of the street. I was like, what the hell?
God.
And I opened it, and it's literally like, so my SS tricky that I have for the PS2, I found it on the side of the street. Someone was throwing out. You never see that ever. And it turns out,
Never.
I tested it, and it works and stuff. That's a fun game. Amplitude, I'm not familiar with this one. I don't know if you guys. Okami, which is very
Awesome
popular.
game.
Awesome, beautiful, wonderful game.
Yep.
Jack and Dexter, we talked about. Beyond Good and Evil, absolutely fantastic game.
Great game.
Does not get talked about enough. Biff says, Tony Hawk series was big with me, and my kids played. I still have Katamari. It was amazing. You roll a sticky ball, and it gathers debris. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was that. Okay, so I was right.
That's cool. Burnout 3
Yeah, Tony Hawk
Takedown.
Underground. Tony Hawk Underground 2 was my favorite. That game was just amazing.
I mean, the Tony Hawk era on the PlayStation stuff was amazing.
I feel like if you didn't play the Tony Hawk games growing up, like what were you doing?
Yeah, the soundtrack too.
Soundtracks on all of them are just
it
incredible.
was classic. Burnout 3 Takedown, absolutely great game.
Yep.
Devil May Cry, of course. Is it Ico or Ico? I never really played this game, but I know it's really famous.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
God of War, of course, we didn't
God of
talk
War.
about, which
Amazing.
was fantastic, amazing. Silent Hill 2, amazing.
That game's expensive now.
Is it?
Silent Hill. Oh my
I
god.
think I have it, but I've had it for a long time.
I almost
Um,
got it from someone on Facebook Marketplace for like $15, and I think they realized it was worth like I think it's like 150 now, and they were like,
Whoa,
yeah,
really?
no. Yeah.
That
I think it's like 100.
surprises. It surprises me because it's pretty like it was a common game. I felt like.
Yeah, it's not hard to find. I think because everyone's trying to get back into it now, they know that that's such like a I don't know. I mean, because like you see games like Battlefront where everyone wants to get it's like $10. Like I guess they didn't make a lot of copies.
Yeah, it's weird. And then Resident Evil 4, of course. How can we forget? Another beautiful game, Shadow of Colossus. Absolutely amazing. They did a remaster on the PS4, I believe. That was a few years ago. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. One of the best Metal Gears, probably. I'm not a big Metal Gear guy, but I know that this game was really popular. And Gamma Droid, what up, man? Silent Hill 3 is even more expensive. Oh, my God.
Wow. Yeah, the
Wow.
Silent Hill series are expensive. I knew that was going to be number one.
Yep.
Number one, which we already talked about, is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And guys,
Yep.
before we kind of wrap up here, I always ask a question on Twitter that relates to the podcast. I ask, what's your favorite PS2 game of all time? So we got Nostalgia Road said, I don't know about this, but
Bully.
these are my top. Bully, Ape Escape 2, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Gamma Droid, who just commented in chat, here you are on Twitter. God of War, of course. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Need for Speed Underground 2. We got to mention here. Rogue Trooper. Never played that. Vice City. Too many to choose, but one game I will never get rid of, no matter how much it goes up, is Blood Will Tell. Never heard of that. Absolutely love this game. Then we got this person shared Ark the Lad, I guess. Is that Ark the Lad? I don't know. I can't read that. Silent Hill 2.
Ace Combat.
Vice City, Scarface, which I know you guys have done videos on Scarface before.
Yeah, I love Scarface.
This one gave me a
Great
list.
game.
Bully. We see more Bully.
Classic.
Silent Hill 2. Oh, Fire Pro Wrestling returns. Oh, nice.
You know what was a good wrestling game? Backyard Wrestling. Have you ever played?
I actually have played Backyard Wrestling.
Yeah,
wow,
that game
I
was
forgot
great.
about that.
Yeah.
The game's absurd.
Code Veronica
But-
X.
Oh, good game.
DDR games. Nice. Scarface, Ace Combat,
Scarface.
Final Fantasy.
Scarface is one of the most, I think, slept on video games ever. Like everyone will say Scarface is their favorite PS2 game, but no one goes back and plays it as much as someone will go back and play Vice City, but I feel like
Right.
Scarface is really slept on.
Urban Rain. Either this or
heard of
Tekken
it, yeah.
Tag.
Surprised I haven't seen a Def Jam. No one said Def Jam.
Yeah,
yet.
no one said Def Jam, which is a
That game is
pricey game now. All Duke Nukem games.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Killzone. Looking for some other ones that people are talking about that we haven't. Maximo. I love the art.
That's another. I mean, I just miss. I feel like they just don't put the same care in. I don't know. It could just be like me because I grew up on these games, but like you said, the artwork, the manuals had bonus stuff in it. Like I just found I bought the Haunted Mansion at a store for I think it was like $10, but it still had the movie ticket inside because a lot of the movie-based games came with tickets too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that which is crazy. A lot of the movie-based games on PS2 came out before the movie. So like if you really were a kid that
That's
like
funny.
gamed, like you would play the movie and be like, "Oh," and then you go see the movie and you know what happens. But almost every movie-based game had a free ticket inside. So you'd pay like whatever 25, 30, whatever it was for the PS2 game and you get a movie ticket to go to the movies.
Wow, and look at all these wonderful comments. Thanks everyone on Twitter that commented. We had a lot of comments here and a lot of awesome people sharing their love of the PS2. Awesome, guys. Is there any game we didn't talk about that we should mention before we head out that maybe we missed? Maybe it's the Lord of the Ring games we didn't really talk about.
Those are really good.
Those are great.
Those were
Like Return of the
some
King.
some of the best co-op I've played on the PS2.
Two Towers was awesome. Playing like the Helm's Deep missions. Return of the King was great. Fighting the Ghost King.
a funny thing about the Lord of the Rings game is so I live in LA. I used to work in entertainment and I worked on a film once. And one of the actors was the voice actor of all the call outs in Lord of the Ring games. So there was a famous line
That's
like
awesome.
"Stand your ground," and
Yeah.
and that was the guy that did the voice.
That's so cool.
So
Right.
every time I would see him on set, he'd go, "Stand your ground." And then also, fun fact, he did the voice of the Madden referee in PS2 era, and he would go, "First down." Like,
Yeah.
so this guy, every time I saw him on set, he would just because I knew because this is probably like, before social media and stuff, and like I knew about him, and like he would just do the voices on set, and it was so funny. But the "stand your ground" line, he's like, "Stand your ground."
We forgot
Yeah.
to mention. I'm just looking at my games over there. We didn't talk about Manhunt, how it got like banned and everything.
Oh yeah, what was the story behind that? Before we go, let's quickly talk about Manhunt.
So I think Manhunt, like I haven't played it yet. I only played a couple missions, but the first one, I believe you're filming, like the concept is you're making a movie, but you're like the murderer in the movie.
Right.
So
That's cool.
like the game is like you're murdering people, which like is very, of course, Rockstar Games came out with it. They're
Yep.
very controversial. They push
Yeah.
the limits. And I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. One of them got banned in like most other countries. I don't think it's banned here. I could be wrong,
Ooh,
but
very
yeah,
gory.
it's
This is
they
one I
pushed
need
the
to.
boundary.
I need to find this one in the wild. This is one I need. to
Yeah,
try.
I just found it. I
Oh,
just
nice.
got the first one.
Is it pricey? Was it pricey?
I got it luckily, and I'm telling you, Facebook Marketplace is like the best thing because people are just getting rid of like 20 games, and they're like, yeah, they're $10 each. Like they just don't know,
Nice.
which like it is what it is. But people are just trying to get rid of their games, and I guess they don't want to go through the hassle of like trying to sell it. So
We've definitely gotten some steals through Facebook Marketplace. So.
Nice. I
the Punisher was a great game too.
Ooh, I don't remember that one. It's funny in LA. LA's a big retro gaming market, so
Hmm.
honestly, like it's so hard to find things these days because people just know out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure in like middle New Jersey, you could probably find some stuff that people don't realize. But out in LA, people are pretty smart, man. They're on top of it out here. Like if you want to go to a garage sale here, if you're not there right when the garage sale starts, all
You're
the video games are gone.
Yeah,
They're gone.
it's like that here too. You just have to see what I did was like there's a way to, which I mean I don't care if I tell it. There's a way to keyword specific things in Facebook Marketplace. So like you can make it where like it'll notify you when people post about specific things.
Oh, like
So
the
like whenever
save
someone
searches
posts,
and stuff. Like where
yeah,
it
so
tells
whenever
you.
someone posts PS2 games, I get a notification and then I could click on it, see what games they have near me, and then like if they ship to you, and that's how we get a lot of our games.
Well, cool guys, man. This hour has gone pretty fast.
Yeah.
I hope you guys have had a really good time going down like kind of memory lane with me on the PS2. We've never really covered
Definitely.
this since we started the podcast, so it's really cool to talk to you guys. Let me talk to you before we get going. Like, what can we expect from you guys in the future? Just more content? Anything new coming that you guys are looking to do from your content side, or just more of the same?
Yeah, so I just actually got an Alienware PC, like a laptop. So we're trying to venture into the streaming world, which we haven't yet. I'm getting like an overlay package design, and then we want to start streaming our games and
Sick.
heavily on YouTube. We're going to be like posting a lot of review-based games because before we were just posting kind of gameplay, which like is fun, but we want to really dive into like why we love these games. So more reviews on there, and that's pretty much it. Like really
Yeah,
just show off
really.
these slept on PS2 games, PS1 games that mean a lot to us. Like we kind of do it where it's like we're gonna explain why these games mean to us and hope that other people uh have the same feelings rather than like picking the most famous game to talk about just because people know it. Like we really dig into some games that no one talks about just to see if people remember them.
Yeah, I think you guys really hit a niche with the PS2 stuff, and just keep on doing that stuff. And I put their link tree in chat on VOD. You could check the description for all their content. I'm going to show their link tree, so you could check out their YouTube. Keep an eye on. Did you guys get an exclusive contract with YouTube? Did they pay you millions of dollars to stream exclusively?
Not yet.
Like
not
Courage
yet.
and all these people that are
Yeah.
going to
Not
YouTube
yet.
now for major bucks.
I still don't even know like this whole technology, man.
Yeah.
It's You know, you'd think just because, oh, I know how to work an iPhone. This stuff is
It's
confusing.
another adventure, man.
Like you have to get, server copies in OBS Studio so you could see chats on your screen. Like I'm trying to learn it all.
Yeah, I think it's cool though that you guys are going to try YouTube. I think it looks like you've already kind of built an audience on YouTube, so I think it makes sense for you guys to do some lives. And obviously, happy to help you guys with streaming stuff. That's what I do. I don't know if you guys know, but I work with a lot of content creators in the nonprofit side of gaming. We do.
Okay.
I'm the gaming community director for Stand Up to Cancer, so I kind of work in the industry, but we do charity events and we work with streamers and content creators. So definitely
awesome.
have like a lot of insight from just all these awesome streamers that have supported us and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, first of all, big ups for being Jersey guys like me. It's, when you meet another Jersey person, it's just a straight connection and it's really easy to connect. In LA, like I said, I don't run into a ton of Jersey people, but when I do, I'm like, oh, what? Where in Jersey from? And by the way, our mod, Genzo Chicken, he's a Jersey guy too.
There you go.
He might be in New York technically, but we'll let that slide.
It's all the same.
Rockland
all-
County and whatever.
It's all.
And he
I
wants.
got family in Queens, so
Nice.
it's all the same.
Actually, my family's from Howard Beach, Queens. That's where we were from originally.
Okay. I went to St. John's in Queens for college.
Oh,
so.
no way! That's awesome.
Yeah.
My dad grew up in Howard Beach, so.
Really? Yeah, that's where my family's
Yeah.
from. My dad grew up. My grandparents. I used to visit there when I was a kid. My whole upbringing. Great pizza, by the way. There's a place in Howard Beach called New Park Pizza. It's been there since my dad was a kid.
My dad takes me there all the time.
One of the best. By the way, one thing about New Park Pizza is their sauce. Same recipe since like, I don't know. They've been around since like the 40s or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
Craziest
good.
part about like the New York area, even like a dollar slice is going to be better than like,
Oh yeah.
we got to ship you out some of that water, man.
Yeah, send me that water so I can make bagels.
Yeah, right.
They do not know how to make bagels in California. It is
Really?
just terrible. There's not a bagel culture here. Like, in the Northeast, like you get a coffee and a bagel in the morning. Here it's you get a breakfast
You get a
burrito
muffin.
and a coffee here. Breakfast burritos are cool though. I will admit. Out here in LA.
That's one thing
they're good.
one thing I'd miss if I moved. That's the one thing I'd miss, all the food here.
Yeah.
Genzo says it's the water. And he wanted to tell you guys
Yeah.
streaming is only as complicated as you want it to be. Great advice, Genzo.
There you go.
But yeah, guys, anything cool for the weekend? Hanging out?
No, just football, something.
Hanging
Oh,
out.
football's
Football
back.
Sunday, baby.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. I'm excited. See if my Jets
Yep.
can beat the Ravens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, really appreciate it. I know we've had this on the calendar for a minute. It's really great to have you guys on. Obviously, check them out on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. We have their link tree in chat, link tree in the description. Want to thank everyone that was live today, and I also want to shout out everyone on VOD. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
There, and really check out all the things that Vinny and Nick are doing. Keeping it real in New Jersey, and also just really fun videos on TikTok. And guys, thanks so much for shooting the shit with me today on the PS2, and really glad to have you. And then that said, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
having
We'll come
us.
back on.
Yeah.
I love this. So
Yeah, man.
I would love to have you guys back. And just want to say before I go, I always say, we only get one shot at this, so be nice to people. Might as well.
Yeah.
All right.
love it. Positivity.
Yes. See you guys later, and we'll be back next Saturday for another episode of Cafe BTW, a morning gaming podcast. Take care, everyone.